10 seconds. This round's ours. Stay sharp for the next. They are like meat to the grinder. Seconds. Secure that objective. On to the next round. Pick it up. Gear up. We're going back in. Time to get paid. They're making us fight for it. Keep at 'em. They hit match point. Tie it up or it's over. Hard day. Clean yourselves up.
Gunfight. Eliminate all enemies or capture the overtime flag to win. No mistakes, no prisoners. Their confidence grows. Use it against them.
window our side. What? What? How?
On to the next round. Pick it
Man,
up.
this sucks. No, I know Joker. I mean, yeah, no, I'm just like figuring it out. Rolling away from that. My side, hallway, back to their spawn. Oh no.
On to the next round. Pick it up.
Oh, how? Dude, I'm sorry. So sorry. So sorry.
Show them
I
what we
didn't
do.
mean to. Okay, I got this. Dude, the wine. I swear it's the wine. Oh, I got stunned. Oh, you scared me. Oh, behind you. Oh my god, what? Dude, I'm getting off after this. I can't do it.
Raise your weapon. We're not finished yet.
I think I hit that peak point where the wine is not helping me anymore. Sorry. Oh god. This
Ребята,
sucks. Okay,
they
casual
win this,
6-5
they win it
win.
all. Time
Come
to
on.
push.
We got this. I believe in us. Look at that. What? Oh my god.
Courage.
I'm so
Victory will
sorry.
come.
That sucks so bad. I can't watch. Oof. Okay, one more. One more. We'll do one more and then I'm gonna get off. Okay. One more. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then I'm gonna probably play later tonight.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, let's kick ass.
Okay,
Let's
you're in
kick-
so
Discord.
since
I didn't know
okay,
you were in
so since
Discord.
It says
Can you hear me?
mouse
It
and
says
then
mouse
something
and then
else. Like what?
something else.
Is that like
What
PC?
is that
Like playing on
PC?
PC?
Like playing on
Yeah,
PC?
mouse is PC. Or someone just playing with a mouse. You could do Xbox and. Can you hear me? Splenda.
I'm in. I mean, like, what are you playing on?
Gunfight.
Mouse. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm in
Eliminate
Discord.
all
Can you hear
enemies
me?
or capture the overtime flag to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Let's get this done.
Nice. Back at their spawn. I got one hit.
They're making us fight for it. Keep
So
at 'em.
close.
I hopped to Discord. Hear me, can you? No, not. Sam, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Splenda. No. I can see the green line around me, I thought.
Oh, just kidding. Oh. Window.
Ten seconds. Secure that objective.
Oh, so close.
Take a breath. We're going back in.
Oh, so close.
Hello, Splenda. Can you hear me? No.
Triggers pulled. Let's go.
Okay, here we
There's-
go. How's your game going, Whisper? Guess they're going upstairs. Maybe they're down low. Oh no, I can't get out of here fast enough.
Enemy secured the
My
objective.
bad.
That's the game.
Here we go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go.
Oh,
Got some hits back at their spawn. Just going up the stairs on your side. Oh man, God, I thought there was only one. I can't hear you, but maybe I need to put on
We're not
speaker.
dead yet, are we, lads?
can you hear me now? Sorry, I'm hoping you can hear me.
Right, move your ass.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh,
Here we-
sweet.
Uh,
Dying. More ways than once.
oh, oh. Oh my God, they're both back here. Ugh. It's so bad. I was stuck in- What's up, cinema? Man, it's replaying what I'm saying right now.
10 seconds. Take a breath. We're going back in.
Here we go. Okay, that should work.
Oh wait, I forgot you can hear me now, so I can speak.
What did you say?
I said I can hear you now. I forgot. I could have said something.
We're down on match point. We need a win.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Man. It looked like they're both right side, maybe? No, left, one up in the window.
Yeah. Oh, I still suck.
Oop.
Even though I know.
Day's done. You're
That's-
not.
That's the worst when you know where they're at. You still die. Oh my God.
I know that feeling. But I don't think that was the guy that killed you. That was up in the window. Did he jump out?
Yeah, he jumped out.
Oh, he jumped out.
Okay, one more. We got
It's you who was saying you're getting off. I was like, I'm so good. I'm so good to go. I'm streaming right now, so. Yes, my girlfriend's running around in the back. It's just making noise.
She's just doing her own thing.
Yeah, well, we got fish tanks. So she's trying to take care of our betas right now.
Oh, cool.
We have like a divider between them, both of them, because they're both male, and it gets really a lot of algae on it because like the tank isn't circulating well enough. So she was like drilling holes into the little divider we have, just so we stop having the algae build up.
Well, that's good.
Oh man. Yeah, but the mouse, it means you're on PC or you're playing with a mouse. Because there's some people who play with a mouse on Xbox or PlayStation. You can do that, like, if you can.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Big Juice keeps inviting me to the game. I'm sitting here playing with you. I can't message him back.
Oh, who keeps inviting you?
He's another streamer. His name's Big Juicy.
I guess it's okay. After this one, I swear I'll let you go.
Gunfight.
How did I keep it up last?
Eliminate all enemies or capture the overtime flag to win.
No, why? I cracked the. Wow. Okay.
Triggers pulled. Let's go.
They're pushing middle.
For 2 hot seconds. There's just this crack out.
god, I can't find this other guy. Oh, there he is.
They're pushing. Let's send them
He
home.
was, I thought he was AFK for a second there. He just camping his own spawn. But alright. And scared the crap out of me though. I did not expect him to be right there.
There's one guy sitting at his spawn across from me.
I don't know where the other guy's at. Can't see him. Oh crap! One inside the stairs. He's crouching. He just crouched that corner. That's the worst. He's still up top.
10
He's
seconds.
on the back of the stairs. Look down, look down. He may run down the stairs.
Yeah, I can kind of hear. Oh,
Okay, to the
crap.
right of you.
Oh,
Secure that
no.
objective.
How did that even
We're
happen? I
losing
didn't
ground.
even
Let's
see him.
take it back.
Oh, so he hopped down when he got the last kill on you? Question mark?
Triggers pulled. Let's go.
I don't like this weapon.
I think I saw one pushing middle.
There's one at top. He's camping the spawn. Don't run out. Don't run out. Boy. He's on fire.
One's pushing the crate. Oh my god, I can't.
That's it, lads. On to the next round. Get
Did you
ready.
kill him?
Yeah, I got him.
Nice. Give me like a 25 assist for that. So it was
He
alright.
got all confused because he was chasing you, and then ran into me.
Standing on top of the box. Got a couple shots on him. He's going right to your side. One at the top. He's pushing me. He's behind me. Got me.
Oh,
Shake it off. Focus
he's
on the
still up
next round.
top. I think. Oh, he's there.
Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, they pushed me
Oh
hard
my god, I was on
for some
fire.
reason.
Triggers pulled. Let's
This
go.
is not going good for me.
We'll have to really play when you don't have a bunch of wine in you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
They may think I went right, and I didn't. Oh, found one. You just came out of the container on my side?
Oh, he came. Oh
Making
man,
a
I got
fight for it.
pinched.
Keep at 'em.
I got a 2 for 1. That's so messed up. I was already hit a couple times, but Dave was back here saying, make you 2 for offer. Oh my gosh, he's been hitting me every time. Okay. Five. See him anywhere? He must push.
No. Oh,
Got me.
what? Oh, he's back at our spawn, basically, behind the stairs.
The top now.
Objective in play. Get after it. We're holding on the objective.
Oh.
Stand.
Oh, I should have turned around.
Pick it up.
It's like, I
You
was
like
"Here,
looked
let me check
around
my-"
so fast, that was funny. It was like he caught you at the perfect moment, at the perfect
All right,
angle.
lads. Get in there.
You watch TikTok at all?
Aw, I got one hit on him, but he's back across at the spawn.
Fucked anyway.
There's one on the stairs and one behind his point. Both on the stairs.
Oh, I hate using the
Take a
pistol.
breath.
That
We're
was
back
rough.
in.
I got a lot of learning to do. Pistols are my weak point.
No,
We're
they're
on
definitely
match
my weak
We
point
can't
too.
take another loss.
It's like bad accuracy and like they whip around.
sit back here. So far, every time I'm just dying.
What? Okay, he's in the crate on my side.
Oh, got him! I fucking stuck a grenade to him and he fucking died. First side? Died?
Yeah, I'm not sure where
10
he is
seconds.
now.
I was gonna-
Oh no.
Kill
Don't
that
play these
objective.
love games with me. Where did he
Wow,
go?
it's gonna.
Oh, there
Oh!
We've got
Oh,
enemy
fuck.
on the objective.
he is. No!
Learn
I was
from
pressing the wrong button.
Come back
I was trying to
harder.
throw a stun.
That's fine. Alright,
But
I'm gonna
GG.
get off.
Alright, have a good night.
I'll see ya. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, no problem. We'll play next time. See- Oh, let me back out Discord. Slowly building up my. Oh no, my bad. Yeah, just see ya, see ya. No, no. I thought I looked. You might double check. You could probably double check, but I don't think I did. Mhm. Not paying attention. I got it. See. Didn't post on Twitter. Go to Discord, cause I didn't join Juicy, but he. Oh no. Did I do? So it was filtering some of it. It just wasn't doing all of it. Freaking frackers, guys! I can't freaking remember what I was doing. There we go. Oh, that's right, huh? I forgot. It tells people I'm going live. Ooh. You. Come on, guys. I like my. Yeah, you are, but you know, nothing new. Hold on. What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you say sorry. Doesn't change the fact they're still making a bunch of noise. There's my invite. How do I? Oh, no. Yes, I'm gonna. Don't know why. It says one invite. But I can't accept the invite? Confused. Why would it show me one invite and then not let me invite myself into whatever is going on? And the actual crap that's going on. There we go. Purposeful. That's fine. Oh my goodness, cat. What's up? Oof. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get this down real quick. Let people know. Let the world know. Gotta let it show. Right, babe? Just leave you. No. Thank you. There we go. Life in a nutshell. I'll wait. I always wait. How I know you. Better look closer. Closer. I was hoping Big Juicy get back, guys, but ooh. Cruise missile. Capabilities. Coming out. I want the world to know. Just gotta let it show. Chose this one as my reticle, but it's not the one. I don't even remember selecting. Been messing around. I have to get a charm. How the hell do you get a charm in this game? Oh, I know what happened. Alright. Gotta fix this. Little bit of head stop. Let's see, that makes sense. Hold on. Maybe I go here. Loadout options. Favorite copy and replace. No. Ah, these guys suck. Got anything? We do nice. Extra filter and clutch. I haven't seen these stickers. What? Yick. Neff balls is this stuff. The world to know that I got the show. Why is the laser on there? Take the freaking laser out. Put the muzzle. They're going monolithic. Put the. Well, I think I put the. I'm coming out. Don't let the world know I'm dying inside. You almost did what? Ow.
I put my larger ones in behind it. And
Is he out yet? Still playing? Searching his... Ah. Alright. I'm gonna play some gun. Let's go back in. How to activate your two... When did that happen? Timed consumables that double your XP for a limited time. Earn from in-game challenge. Giving retailer codes at call. Focus security. Learning things, guys. Learning things. What's that?
slowly but surely.
No. No. Why am I playing against a bunch of PlayStation players? On a mouse. Of all things. Did I really play that bad that they just think that I should play them? Something sounds weird about my... Ooh, it's really freaking loud. Why am I spectating? Did I just hop in a game? They just filled me into a game? They must have updated again or something. Like, I felt like I missed something. Because some of this stuff wasn't here before. This guy was just playing by himself. He's got 3 kills.
Stay on them.
Good job. What? That makes no sense, guys.
Wipe them out.
Oh, not a pistol. Not a pistol. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't born. Whip a pistol. Kidding me? You guys just gonna straight run up there? Yeah. Pistol whip that boom. Pistol whip that. Ooh, I almost had him. Oh, my teammate messed me up. He ran before. Spectate.
10
He
seconds.
was either a rat or... Okay. So he pushed up. I think threw that grenade.
We're on the objective.
Just
Get
capture
the
it.
area.
It's fine.
Get
Oh!
that
He
round.
kept
On to
moving.
the next.
Okay, oh well. We'll get it. We'll get him next time. Woo! That expert. Oh, he probably hated that.
You're the last man standing.
Ah.
Get ready. We're going
How
back
was
in.
he behind me? Did he hop off the platform? Yeah, he hopped behind. Oh, you got me good. I shouldn't have been running into that.
Forward.
Oh well. Oh, now he sits. Oh, just left my gun game. No, I felt sorry. Why? Dude. Now I can join them? What is going on? I've joined the game, that's great. Well, I was gonna join the party too, but... Why did I close the window? Because it's loud outside, babe. Big Juicy, where you at? There he is. Break. I wanted to play with some Big Juicy. Oh, but my microphone doesn't work in Call of Duty. I tried. It's set like the default or something, and I don't have it set to default. So I don't know
Leave it,
how.
dog. Game to play.
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, are we just playing team deathmatch? We're playing team deathmatch. I hate playing team deathmatch at the moment.
26. Ready to play more.
Biffin chodes. Choda biffins. Beware. Cho biffus. Yeah, violent. What did we claim then?
The enemy's
We got
taking the
control.
lead.
Oh, whoa! Why did I just lag? I
We've
just
taken
lagged into
control.
the wall.
You're back.
I am so laggy right now. What the hell is going on, man?
The enemy has the lead.
Whisper. Whisper. What is this bullcrap? Oh, you freaking kidding me? I saw him first, dude. He started shooting first. Alright. Well, if this game wasn't freaking lagging right now, that would be amazing. You know how things are. Two toastos at a time. Two toadstool at a time.
Enemy UAV.
Pretty much walked into me. I don't like this. I don't like what's going on right now. Something just seems off. Feels off. Just throwing grenades in there.
Enemy
Someone
personal
sounded like they
radar
died.
online.
Oh, great. They got personal radar on. Okay, I'll take that out. Freaking hear the noise. They're out somewhere. The plane. I can hear it, but I can't see it in the sky. Is it? I gotta be. Personal. Someone must have shot it. What is going on in this game? Are we even playing a normal game? Oh crap! The hell did he shoot me
Radar
from?
online.
It didn't even show me. That didn't even look. No. Alright, so everybody just kind of camps here? Is that what I'm seeing? What I'm hearing? Do people run around? Do people actually kill things? Do things with their life?
Enemy UAV online.
Survive?
Enemies have the lead.
Oh, you freaking kidding me! Alright, we started respawning. I have no clue what's going on in this game.
Enemy
So it's pretty much like
airstrike inbound.
blind sight, but blind sight. I mean, what am I?
Enemy VTOL jet
Oh,
inbound.
that sucked.
Enemy personal radar online.
Freaking camp. was he at? Yo, that's messed up, man. No, can't shoot him. It's a VTOL, isn't it? That's what was going on.
Enemy personal radar online.
Personal radar, we're fucked. I hear it too. It can drive me nuts. But it's fucking- Map up here. No guys? Dice?
Target down.
Okay, I'll take it. So the UAV went away. Yeah. All my focus, guys. Please respect it. Assuming that the get that screen. And that. What's the big hullabaloo here? Why can I not find myself?
Less than a minute.
Oh, well, turn up the sound up
Window.
again.
Time to move. Allied troops. Friendly UAV on station.
Oh, we lost. No. Yeah, someone's
hard
freaking
out
racked up the points.
Rest up. We'll hit them again.
What the actual heck are you playing? Ah, man. Okay. I need to figure out this whole Call of Duty. Not having my mic set for voice chat. Yeah, that's great and everything. Hey, Big Juicy, in here. Big Juicy. Where are you, man? My life has gone psycho. Okay, I'll accept the invite, dude. You can send me the join in game session anytime, but okay, request response, you have joined party. Sweet. He's on PlayStation over here. I am trying to figure out. Dude, I have a mic. You just can't hear me. Yeah, man, no mic. I can hear you. See. Because they won't let me go from here. Do I have to back out? No, I don't want to leave the lobby. Fine with it. Fine with being in this damn lobby. I just mad that I can't actually change what the freaking set is on. Controller account. Guys, can someone help me with this? I cannot figure this out for life of me. Why? I sound kind of quiet. Okay. I wasn't paying attention. All right, there we go. Should be louder now. Maybe a little bit too much loud. Too much loud. Too much loud for me. Here, let me do this. I can turn myself here so I can hear myself talk. But frickin' snecka. Snecka. Oh, you know what? Why don't I just do this? And then I can boost my sound. Just confused. Why is he yelling at me? Oh. We're playing this game. Guys, we're playing this game. Alright, guys. Ooh, he saw me at the last second. Hey, how am I sounding now? Oh, and I couldn't see that because, of course, this would freaking show me. Hey, yo, 528. Okay. So I sat here for a while. I'm sorry, Mika. Forgive me. You won, man. If you guys are offended by my buddy here cussing, let me know. I don't think you can see my party chat. Switching sides, so we're defending now. Actually, where do I want to go? There's a certain way I went once that I really enjoyed. Alright, prone out here. Ooh, who died? Kingslayer. No Kingslayer no more. I was following that guy earlier. He's just running around with a shield. Shields are such crap sometimes. Not that I had to play around one often. Ooh, we won a round. Nice. Good G. Good G. Oh, he was standing up there. I would have got sniped so hard. It would have been funny. Would have been funny. Alright. I don't know how the sound sounds now. I did not do a check. I am freaking. Cover you. I can't cover you. Big. Juicy. Big, juicy. I can't cover you. I can't cover you, man. You're too big. You can cover me, man. Well, got somebody. Where the Big Juicy go? Oh. Yep. I was like, I hear all this binging and stuff. I know it's not good. Oh, this. Alpha streamers? Man, I didn't notice I had like going on in the background. Freaking Discord, man. I'll be popping all my stuff up, man. But Samika, if you're still there, how do I sound now? I'm still pretty quiet or what? Oh crap. I'm just hearing people die. That's what I'm hearing. Long shot savior. Nice. We're winning these rounds after round. Big Trizzy. He was surrounded, man. What else is he gonna do? He's one man, a large, small army. Big Trizzy. He was surrounded, man. Alright, Joe. You guys ready? Give me the bomb. I'm the bomb. I'm the bomb. Oh, he took the bomb. He took the bomb. Escort the bomb. Fuck the bomb up. Oop. Why does my hand just fell off today? Oh, what? He shot me bent down. Sorry. Yeah. That hurt, man. That hurt. How they be doing me like this, man? How they be doing the dirt on me, man? Oh, man. Defuse that bomb, dude. Oh, no, that was our bomb. It was our bomb all along. What am I looking at? Okay. Fine, someone else can take the freaking bomb. I freaking stand here and I will freaking be freaking, you know? Ah, I can't get up there.
You want for dinner?
What do I want for dinner?
Yeah.
It's a sweet booty.
No. Who's in chat? Oh, that's your sister.
What's that?
I said who was in chat?
Samika was,
Yeah.
but not much longer.
Yeah, she said you sounded kind of quiet. Oh, fuck. You don't sound really quiet.
I can't answer you because A, I can't hear you very well. B, I'm freaking in the middle of a game. Oh, what, babe?
She was saying you sounded kind of quiet.
Yeah, I know, I fixed it.
Okay.
She just hasn't replied to me yet.
Okay, well, it sounds much better now.
Okay, thank you. Where were you 2 minutes ago? That's what I thought.
I burnt my finger on that damn thing.
Heater?
Because I
Oof.
plugged it, but like it didn't cool down fast enough.
Yeah.
And I even sprayed it with water to help cool it down.
Never say.
But nope. That bitch was just not having it.
Never
That's
really
fun.
having it.
Have you texted Maddie and Bailey yet?
Yep, they're gonna be here at 7. 7:30. Looks like I have an option. Oh, he was camping in a corner. The little beep, 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 beep. Dolphin sensor all night. I'm at a COD right now because I can't even change the option of what it's picking up from my mic at the moment. Yeah.
That sucks.
So it's like trying to grab my mic from nowhere. So I literally have no mic. And Big Juicy is on his PlayStation, so he can't hear me unless I'm going through party chat. Man, we were so good too. We're killing them. We're 5-4 right now. Like we were 5-3 just a second ago.
What do we want to do for dinner?
So you asked me, and I actually have no clue what we're doing for dinner. I can make some chicken. I can give you some health advice, but otherwise, I have no clue, babe. Well, I am happy I'm in the box. Ooh, I can't really lean out more than that. People dying? I just... Alright. Oof. That was the last one. Ah, we lost. Not really sure what to do for dinner, but because we're having them come over. Do you just want to order some pizza or something, or we can go buy some pizza? I didn't ask what they're eating if they come in.
Asset location confirmed. Defending them is critical.
Yeah, they're critical, but I'm gonna die because my teammates. Just kidding. I'm gonna be better than my teammates and not die. Sound like a good plan?
Sounds good to me.
Oh, you freaking kidding me? I'm so freaking done right now. No. I hate when autocorrect decides to change your words. Are you fat finger your keyboard? Because I put 8 instead of are you gonna eat here? Yeah. See my words. Oh. I don't think you can see my words. It should though. It should be up in the corner for him too. Huh?
It was really blurry for a minute and then it got better.
Yeah, well, we were looking for the shield of the guy for a second, which is just kind of blurry. Oh, we won.
Big Juicy said he can't hear you in chat.
Yeah, you can't hear me. You can't see my words. You. Question mark. Ooh, Nightfall. Got a new skin. I can't hear you. I know you can't hear me. Oh, you can't. Wait, you can't hear me in chat. Hey. Okay, now you see it. I can message you, but now that you can hear me through the stream, you're good, dude. I'm playing CODs, Mika. See now. I heard it was a bus. What do you think? I don't think COD's a bus. What are you talking about? Like I'm slightly offended. No, it's been having its ups downs. You shouldn't believe everything you hear. You should just play the game. Ooh. Right, Juicy? He probably can't hear me very well. I can hear my own stream through your side, bro. But yeah, no, I freaking love COD. I freaking want to take this to like professional levels. That'd be amazing. But you know, there's only so much you can do. Baby, you didn't say yes or no to pizza.
Because you texted them.
Oh yeah. Same. Juicy's like same. Dude, Juicy, they can hear you, man. I can hear you through party chat. It's coming through. So they should be able to hear you through the game, so you don't have to sit here and type, dude. Different modes they got gunfight. We're playing hardcore search and destroy. They have ground war. Ground war is all the. And you got tanks and stuff, helicopters, and it's a huge map. We also got NVG. You can't hear me. I know you can't hear me through. It's pro core shit. I mean, have you tried Hardpoint yet? Or is this Hardpoint? Cause dude, just close the door in my face, man. How the did he think he was? He thought he was cool or something? He's gonna close the door in my face? Okay, I was able to see over the fence for 1 second. Now I can't see at all. Alright. Nope, not making it up there, guys. Not today.
Not today, motherfuckers. Not today.
What did we tell Death? Not today. Nice, got him. Come on, shoot at me. I need you to shoot at me. Come on. Nope. I'm just gonna get shot from behind. I just have this feeling. Like I'm an open big area tie. Run. Why did I just see someone run? I thought I saw the shadow just now. I mean, out of time. We're never out of time. I'm gonna die. I know it. I feel it in my bones. The moment's serious, guys. Oh, we won. My only issue is I've become accustomed to Battle Royale and have to learn to appreciate the 1 life per game. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, they still have that. That's what this is right now. If you die in this game, you don't come back until next round. So, it's pretty much like Capture the Defend with 1 life. But, you also have to destroy. Ooh, I wonder if you can hop up there. No, I can't, but I just found a part of the map. That's pretty interesting. Who just died and where? I can just jump around on this all day. Get up and get down. I'm about to make myself sick looking at at my stream though. I'm just gonna peek around the corner here, guys. No, they haven't gotten through here yet. What do you mean I got this? Did you die? Oh crap, I just missed him. Nice. You watching Big Juicy right now? Jeez. That scared the crap out of me, man. Did it to my right? I gotta circle around. That's my question. I'm gonna get myself killed. Oh, called it. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the reason why you can't hear me is because that's all Sean, by the way. Oh yes. Oh, okay, Sean. Sean messaged you. Sean, don't you have your own account, man? Oh, that was a nice kill. Dang. Oh, he's teabagging him. What's up?
Check it.
My phone? Oh. It's just a bunch of randomness. So, yeah, I honestly like COD a lot. It's kind of sucks that some of the spawns need to be mixed up more, because when you're playing like team deathmatch or like conquest, is it called conquest in this? I forgot. Anyways, this is Sparta. We're gonna defend them. I don't want to defend nothing. Forget defending. We're charging in hardcore. We're bringing it the A game to the bang bang. Whoop. Throw that grenade the wrong way. Oh, I see where he's at. They're on the right side. Juicy. Oh, the dog's underneath me. Oh, it's just charging. Well, anyway, Sean. They need to switch up spawn points. There's a couple perks that they need to fix, but like every game, it's kind of trial and error. I told you he's over there, man. Juicy. He over on the... Oh, he got wiped. He wasn't paying attention. That's how hard he got wiped. Dude. Manny is just taking us out. But I killed him, so he's good. Or someone else killed him. But... like, I can't really say why not. There's not a single thing here that I would say don't play COD for. Like, it's that freaking amazing. Just because your computer crashes a few times or your Xbox or PlayStation goes bust doesn't mean that they're not gonna fix it. It's not unfixable. Vargas. Dude, that area is hard to defend by one person alone. So Juicy, you go my side with me? Or never mind, we're switching, so. Next time. Who's gonna get the bomb? I'm gonna go left. But yeah, man, I honestly would say go ahead and do it. Buy COD. Dive deep into it. Feel your life drain away. Oh, what in the earth happened there? Someone tell me where he... Oh, he is in the... Oh, man. That's just mean. That's just cruel. Just cruel and unusual, guys. Abuse. So... I think I still have this one. I don't have the doggo cam. But you guys should see him. He'd be freaking crazy. So, I will fix that up at another time. As I knock everything down off my shelf. As I wait for this game to get over. Alright. The gloves are coming off. We're getting serious. Oh, dude. That kill just there. Oh. You gotta watch those small cracks. The small cracks mean a huge difference in this game. Like, you think you're back far enough? No, you're not back far enough at all. Even if you can't see them, they can see you. Is Big Juice with me? Yeah, he's coming. Cool. Freaking can't believe I got whacked so hard like that. Oh, you freaking kidding me? Dude, he's all the way over there? And he'd just be sniping at us. They're useless right now, man. I can't believe it, man. Big Juice. Come on, man. We got this. But Big Juice, you can call things out, man. I hear you. No, dude, you're fucked. They're behind you again. They're probably just gonna climb up, man. Okay. I guess that's one way to do it. Just gonna cap this backside here. Ooh, what's gonna happen, guys? What do you think is gonna happen, right? I'm like all sitting here ready. And probably this one guy gets 3 right now. No, dude! Your reaction time was slow as... Oh. If you threw a grenade down there and could have killed all of them, he'd have been dope. He'd have been dope. He turned around. He 360'd that. Oof! That's gotta hurt. Yeah, it actually does hurt. Soul hurt. My soul hurts inside. Alright. This time, let's not go dying. Alright, well fine. I'll take the freaking bomb. Go with Booth. He's been making the moves right now. Even though he died last. They got a UAV. I'm a freaking. Oh, I just saw him to the left. Well, there he goes. Good round, guys. Good round. I'm dying. Dude, he got you through a post. Unless there was some serious lag and he just like shot whoever that was aside. I don't know why my dog's under my desk right now. Let's see, defend. We gotta defend this time. Alright, come on, come A side with me, man. I'm so tired of getting blown up. Oh, they rushed it so hard. Dude, I feel like this game is just cheating right now. We did like fine in the beginning, and then now we're just sucking. It must be like a whole team of people. That's all I can think of. How did how did they even find him just now? Alright. Wasn't aware. Yeah. Guess he was just looking that way, ready. Ah. Dude, it must be like pro team together. Let's get it. Jackal. Alright. We can do this. We can all do this. You know they're just gonna rush A, right? Like they did last time. Oh, fucked. Cruise missile comes down and just wipes everything in the area. Hey, Big Juicy, dude, they're on the other side just planting that bomb. Man, all they're gonna do is rush A, because with like the 4 of them, they can cover the area. Nah, man, you're close. So close. I like your calling card, by the way. It's a freaking bomb. Dude, you want to play some gunfight? Nah, that'd be hard. Cause you gotta actually talk. I wonder what the hell he was doing. Oh, no, that was our. That wasn't our guy. Our guy died. That was harsh. Yo, you think Boof and Boof would be calling things out? Oh yeah, I unlocked something. Nice. What did I get? I got a barrel. Damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Oh, that'd be a pretty nice one. Just slows you down though. Let's see, got new skin. What do you got for skin? I got spray paints. This one. Oh, that's not bad. I actually like that. Make your gun blue, you know? Let's see. Yo. I am really warm right now though. Hey, I close. What do you say, Juicy? Oh, what's up? You were talking to the whole team. I have everybody muted. Okay. There's only like 4 people besides Juicy. Juicy, juicy, juicy. How's your day going? Smika, what have you been up to? How are you? You off today? And Sean's off today because it's Saturday, right? I wanted to play really good games. Sam! They're making pigs in a blanket. They're gonna bring some.
Oh yeah. That fucking brilliant.
Reinforcements are not available.
Reinforcements are not available? No. How dare they not be available? No. You serious? Did they really just take out one of our guys? Right off the back. And that's another one down, right? Yeah, there's 2 down. Juicy's down too. I have no clue where anyone's at right now. I'm assuming they went to B. I haven't played this. Yeah, my best assumptions. They're at. Where did he go? I didn't know he was the last guy. Yeah, he was the last guy. I was just like waiting, and I was like, all right. Oh man. I was like, okay, look coming out. But like everybody saw that now, so I'm freaking like, I can feel my heart pounding. Can I do this for a second time? Where are you guys going? How many people we got on A right now? You think they're gonna keep going for B? Oh, they killed the guy over here. Nice.
1 minute remaining.
Oh, he was in the corner. Big Juicy, go A. Go A. Go A. Big Juicy, go A. Try ground. Oh, wait. Did he die already? Oh, Big Juicy already died. Shit. I'm relying on these last 3 guys here. Dude, they're gonna do A. They're gonna get A. Yeah. Oh, Big Juicy, you should tell them A. Man, they're camping A real hard right now. You can probably hear you in chat. Throw a grenade to them. No, dude. Oh, okay. Nope, they're fucked. They're fucked. There's gotta be some. Oh. Whew. That was close. That was so freaking close. So mad that guy got me. Just ran in there and he was like, here, take a piece of my weapon. I might be a little bit crazy. Crazy, don't mind me. Alright. I wonder if they're gonna go A this time. See, I can't do it right there. That'll be like right here. Big Juicy for the first kill. Let's see, come on. Come on. Why would you open that door? I'm just kidding, it's fine. I'll take the door open, right? They're gonna kill Texas Ranger. Oh, they killed one guy. Gonna get someone else or no? Dude.
1 minute remaining.
They going for B now? Oh, they had me in the back. They had me in the back. I'm so sad. Oh! Man, that was harsh. It was just two of them. There's one guy left. Okay, I thought we were done for. Oh! Crap. We can't spec that corner, man. JC, dude, you should be telling these guys, like, as soon as you hear me say something, but like, yo.
Switching sides.
Ah, we're switching now. Nice. I don't know how this is gonna go, though. This is Sparta. Ooh. I forgot I had a shotgun. When did I get a shotgun? Why do I have a shotgun? Oh, that switches your loadout. Your num. Oh, I didn't know your num keys were your loadout. That freaking confused the hell out of me for a second. Oh, almost had it. Oh, it's my own teammate. He's over here running around like. Okay. Went on B. Oh! I was trying to get a good shot on him. I think he would see me, but I was stupid. Yeah, I thought I had him, but I was wrong. What's E? There's a guy on the left at A. Or am I watching whatever, guys? Dude. It's freaking hard, guys. But, hey, you know, guys, stop, chat with me. How you doing, man? How's your life been? Need some help in COD? Because I could use a lot of help. Alright. I'm not gonna be mad at that kill. He deserved it. I think he could have done better. But he'd be crouching into the alleyway like it doesn't exist, bro.
Retrieve the bomb. Destroy your targets. The bomb
See, man.
protect our carrier.
Nope, he's dead. That sucks.
Enemy cruise missile.
Now you tell me there's enemy cruise missile? It already sounded like it was crashing.
Enemy care package inbound.
Yeah. Send those rounds down range. There you go. Yeah, I can hear you, dude. I've been hearing you this whole entire time. Doesn't mean it was great? Nah. Not much, man. Are they? They're not at A right now? Like, I can hear you talking and... Oh, behind me. What we got? Who we got left? No one person. Oh, I keep hitting a dog on accident. Do 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 do. Dude, it's bad, man. That was some serious lag. That was crazy. Well, I was gonna take the bomb and run the egg, but I'll just wait. We're just gonna rush. We're just gonna rush B.
Protect our carrier.
It just makes better sense, I guess. Oh no. the 2 grenades back at myself. That was me failing, bro. Oh man. I can't believe it, dude. Maybe I should have aimed higher. Was that window above him open? I don't remember. Oh, that's a good spot. This guy's got a good spot right here. Until he died. Pyramid is pro. Did he? Pyramid is pro. Okay. Dude. Can't believe I freaking threw my grade that at me. It's denied. Denied my win.
Keep them secure.
Everyone's like, post out. Post up. Actually, you know what? I'll leave it. Oh. Damn. I left my... Oh! I got destroyed. Check out this match or this, you know. I don't like playing even a team deathmatch, dude. But I don't also play this map enough to like know the nooks and cranny of it. Does he have the bomb? No. Oh, the enemies do. Bravo. Dude, there's still enemies around here, man. Dude, why are you sprinting around the corners, man? You crazy. I got an UAV up, too. You can hear it. That's how I knew you were there before you even started shooting. Damn. Come on, David. Damn, Dan. Nice. He called it out. Yo, he might win this. No, dude, you're not. You gotta defuse the bomb, dude. Oh. Dude. He's doing damage. Someone left, man. Of course he loved this shotgun. I would love it too. It's a beautiful looking shotgun, man. If I was in party chat, that's what I would tell him, but... Is Zenith still on? No, it's off. Alright, let's get this, guys. Come on. I freaking hate holding A. It's the worst spot. Let's keep watching myself die. Yeah, we had people quit. Sucks that you have to sit through all 6 of this. Go now. No, I do not want to go now. Oh, that was stressful. Fortunately, we could have ended this game, but we defused the bomb. That was a lot of time between the two. Think they're gonna keep going B? Or A?
We have assets in the field. Defending them is critical.
I know, defending them is critical. But do I really want to? No. Alright. Stop standing there. You crazy maniac. Looking to be shot. Big Juicy out.
Enemy form is Alpha. Go now.
Ah, great. It's on Alpha.
It is left to you. Get it done.
Aha! I was trying to be all sneaky. Freaking backfired in my face. C'est la vie. Goes my brain. Dude, Juicy, let's play something else, man. I'm down for some gunfight. That's what I've been loving. Alright, I can play some Control or something, dude. Ooh, am I gonna level up? No, I didn't level up. Still at 45. Dude, Juicy, you gonna pull out, man, or what? Sweet. Let's go some gunfight, man. Or something else. Let's shoot house 24/7. I don't even know what shoot house 24/7 is. Just gonna hover over it. No, it's not gonna show me. That sucks. It's just doing nothing in here except for messing with kill streaks. I still have 1, 2, 3 kill streaks. Ooh, I want a Juggernaut, but that's 15 kills. I'll work up to it. I'll get it. I get close enough. No, I don't want to leave the lobby, dude. Freak, I'm warm, so warm right now. I don't even know how the dog is lying underneath my desk right now. Hold on. I'm going to back up. So the dog gets more comfortable after I get up. I gotta take a picture of this real quick. Oh yeah. So everyone can notice this is where my dog's at. Just chilling under the desk. Why? That's a good question. But Big Juicy dude, you've been playing COD all day? You got Discord, by the way, Big Juicy? Oof. Oh, Tonga moved. Whoa, where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? I'm too cute. You're too cute to leave. Too cute to leave. Stay here, love me. Oh, guys. Freaking warm right now. Forgive me. Search and destroy again. Big Juicy. Big Juicy. See, you're playing controller. Mouse. That's a lot of mouses. Should we call them maces? Mice. There's a lot of mice. Alright, let's go. Come on. Oh. Ooh. Who's already dying? What the heck? They really put us into the middle of the game right now. Just beans. Dude, is oh. Oh, we won. Nice. Okay, I don't mind hopping in a game that we're running. That's fine by me. One guy died already. Right off the back. Being Chungus. Bug. You said beans, dude? Bean is infamous, and Big Chungus. It's not just bean. They're probably choosing to ignore you. Oh, I didn't expect them to be over there. Oof. Man, they're prepared. They were prepared. I died without taking any. Yeet. My latency is crap right now. To the left, dude. Who's shooting at you? Well, yeah, I'm just over here watching the bomb. Just sitting here, you know? It's fine. Someone just has a urinal killer. Damn. He in here killing them and crap. Did he forget he had a knife? Dude, I'm not even sure what's going on right now. Alright, let's check it. Oh, what the? Oh, I see him up there. Oh, little. You gotta be kidding me, man. Big Juicy chicken out. Juicy. Oh, alright. Well, we won. But, okay. Oh, okay. Dang, that was crazy, dude. Sorry. Oh, saw where they were at the last second. Dude, he's just been kept in the side, infamous. I mean, I don't blame you. It's a good spot. You've been getting some serious kills, dude. But crap. Watch. We can have a personal time together, guys. All right. Sometimes you just lose in game. We'll figure this out eventually. Dude, why not, man? Why you? Okay, we'll figure this out. Dude. Yeah, hell yeah.
Bomb raids in sight. Nice one.
Dude, this guy's winning this game single-handedly. Single-handedly. I want part of this clan, man. I can't believe he didn't see you, dude. What the hell was he doing, man? Alright, well, frick this time.
Assets identified. Keep them intact.
We say that every time, dude.
Enemy bomb at Bravo. Get over there.
Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Dude! What the hell did he... Don't die. Thanks, Zona. What's up? Thanks for hopping in. It's been freaking quiet in here, man. How's your night going? Oh, you're gonna stream tonight? You should be, right? I have friends come on. Oh, dude. That's harsh, bro. Yeah, Zona. How you doing? How's your day? Oh, that was 3 minutes ago. Oh, dude, man.
Attack the weapon cache.
Oh, I died, Sazona. See what you did to me? It is really bad today. I can barely watch streams, let alone stream. Just been doing homework and playing Sims 4. Nice. Dude. Well, that's good to know. What homework do you have, though? I forgot. Sazona, I've never asked how old are you? Everything just lags on your end. I will keep that in mind. You were doing pretty good. We were 4-2 for a second there until that one. That freaking killed. I can't believe I cooked my grenade so long that it happened. You'd be over here teabag. Oh, jeez Louise, man. You know what? Forget these guys. No, they're not. Dude, which ones? Which one are we playing?
Got the bomb.
Done.
Bomb is set. Hold that position.
Ah, just saw him. Frick. Just needed to stay alive. Okay. Every stream I join freezes now again, and sometimes a lot. Ah. Alright, says. I'm sorry if it freezes. And you don't get to talk to me? Oh, I'm just gonna cry in a corner. I have line homework and children's literature. Literature is I'll just repeat my words over and over again. I'm like, what homework are you doing? It says. What homework are you doing? And I'm gonna be like, how old are you? Says, I've never asked how old you are. Says, I've never asked how old you are. It's definitely pink, bro. I don't know if you can hear Big Juicy. I can hear him fine.
Bomb is in flight. Attack the weapon cache.
Gotta sit back here this time. Going too forward really messed me up. Man, I'm hearing people drop left and right now. Just barely saw him. Oh my goodness.
Planting the bomb. Watch your ass. Bomb is set. Hold that position.
Oh, he came behind me. Is he really the last one left? Oh, I am at age. I don't know what age you are. What age? Okay, I see him. Sweet. I'm just curious because I make a lot of friends with people who are older than me or younger than me. So I wish I could stream tonight. I would play Dead by Daylight with you, but I do have friends coming over shortly, so I will make this my last game for the night. I think I'm gonna miss a lot of people. But how's Nug doing? Is Nug older or younger than you? Engineer unlocked, nice. Oh, that sucks. Being supported. Oh, behind me. Whew. I could probably play DBD, but streaming it wouldn't work. Huh? Okay. Well, I was gonna say yes, but I got friends coming over, so I can't sit here and play it. But we can do it tomorrow. Play some DBD tomorrow. Hope your internet's better then too. Then you can stream. But hey, thank you for making me a mod. It's been fun modding your channel. I enjoy it. Dude, to the left, dude. Oof. Man, we're 5-5 right now. That's crazy. My throat is dying though. My throat would be dying. I don't know why he ran into the middle of the area. I need to get better at Dead by Daylight too. Alright, let's do this. I just like throwing grenades out because it's fun. Bro, I can tell the construction behind that building is causing interference or something because it was fine before that. Oh, it could be. It could be. Could be the case. Yeah, some people are dying to the left of me. I'm gonna die if I pop out. Yeah. Oh, we won! Yay! I'll be happy to kill you relentlessly until you get better. Awesome! I would appreciate that. I'll let Juicy know. Right? Is that my last game? No, I got one more. I'd rather play gunfight. It's a little shorter matches. A little more faster pace. For me anyways. Ooh, who's Hubert? Let's see, let's do gunfight. I wanna do some gunfight. That's how Nugget taught me. Or how taught you Overwatch, just killed you over and over. I see you play a little bit of Overwatch. You seem pretty good on Overwatch. But at least you learn from that. I did that to my sisters, and can I whisper Big Juicy? That'd be great. Whisper, whisper. How much do you bet he's gonna just keep sending me stuff? I don't think he saw what I said. Oh, no. Dismiss, dude. Dismiss. Okay, hold on. I can whisper him. Just whisper him. One game of dude. I can't believe Nugget taught you that way. I tried to teach my sisters how to play soccer, and they learned a little bit, but like I killed them over and over again, in the sense that I kept scoring. I hated it. I couldn't handle it. Poor sisters. My best rank on OW is platinum. When I play consistently, now I'm usually gold. Hey, hell, that's freaking amazing though. Can you beat Nugget on a one-on-one though? Where did he just go? Oh, I got double team from both the back and the front. What happened to my teammate? Killed him. Killed him. He just ran. My teammate didn't even try to cover his corner. Didn't even try. Got him. Oh, he's behind me. He didn't shoot fast enough. Anybody want to see that replay? I hate this gun. Oh, we got him. Nice. But I can't believe you made platinum rank in Overwatch. Isn't Overwatch freaking full, at least what's the word? The rank is toxic. Nice. Oh, you freaking kidding me? He crawled up to there. He crawled up and got out. Sometimes I could beat him, but really his highest rank was Masters. Oh yeah, I forgot this. Something above Platinum. Like, what the heck is above Platinum? Like, can't even think about it. I wish I could get that good in League, to be honest. Yeah, I already got him. Whew, that was close. Well, he was already freaking low. He was already bleeding. Nice. He freaking hates me right now. Both of them probably hate me. There's toxic people ever, and they only affect you if you let it, right? Got him. You saw that, right? I threw a grenade, but I didn't mean to. I meant to hit him. The grenade got him. We'll just put it that way. Oh, crap. Nice. 4-wing streak. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's toxic people over. There's toxic people on COD. It's funny. But I don't deal with them as much. I just can mute them, you know what I mean? I guess you could do them in actual games too, but... What's up, Bibbo? You made cookies? What? 10. Oh, I know. I'm getting off of this game. Dude, I don't know what he was doing. Oh, I mean, he was worried about that guy, but he wasn't ready. Oh, you freaking serious? Oh, he got me. Okay, I thought someone else got me. Dude, come on, throw a grenade. What are you beating that up? We would have won. The ranks go Overwatch go bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, grandmasters, and top 500. Gold is considered average skill level, so when I was at my best, I was higher than average. Well, I could believe it. Freaking amazing person says. I don't know what he was using, but victory! Well, thanks Zez for stopping in. Sezona. I will have to see you later. I don't know how I play second below him. And we had the same kills and deaths, but his damage is higher. He scored more somehow. But alright. I must have saw like that grenade was just, I don't know. No clue. No words. Alright. I'm gonna get off. Thank you for stopping in. If I hop in, I'll hop in. You love when your internet freezes. I know. I know you don't love it. Don't lie. Alright? Don't lie one bit. Okay, says you don't need to lie. I definitely died. Died lots of times. Many times. Mucho grande. Lots of death. But thanks, says. Thank you for stepping in and saying hi and everything, hanging out. I hope I can entertain you more next time. But peace. Well, I should do this after I hit the stop, right? Peace. Did it stop yet? Did it stop? Did it stop? Wait, it's just I should get clothes on?